Thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Thank you for your time too.
I can't wait to get to know you a little bit and kind of deep dive into some stuff you like to do as a family, and a little bit about your cultural background to make sure that that's all included in our classroom while Adeline is in there. So, do you have any nicknames for Adeline?
I do. I call her Addie.
Okay.
Addie or Marie when it's serious, which is her middle name.
Oh,
so
she knows.
She knows if I say Marie, it's serious.
Then she knows. It's like sometimes when parents first and middle their names, like say the full name and then they're like,
that when I say the full name in Spanish, yes, then it's like okay. But if it's Addie, she knows we're good. If it's Marie, little warning. And then if it's Adeline Marie Creole, then it's gonna be
yeah. So she knows.
Yeah, so it's rare Adeline, but more like Addie or Marie.
Okay. All right, sounds good. When she is writing her name, what would you prefer her to write or learn first? Her full name. Okay.
Yeah, her full name spelled out Adeline Marie.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I know that Addie lives in 2 households.
Yes.
But who are in those 2 households? Who's in Addie's daily life with those sort of?
So it's I think it's a good balance of on my end, it's just me and her. And then at her dad's house, it's her 2 aunts and her 2 little boy cousins and her dad. So at her dad's house, she has her tias, and then at our end, it's just me and Addie.
Okay, all right, perfect. Now this one, I know it's a little bit different because right now during COVID, we all had to change our lifestyles a little bit.
Right.
But who is generally the primary caregiver for Adeline? I know that she's in 2 households, but who makes more of the decisions, would you say? Or who is she with the most?
It would be me. I think it would be me, more of, I guess, the involvement as when it comes to school or just getting things done, like medically, setting up appointments and stuff like that. I would consider myself more of the primary, where her dad is always considered in every decision, but I'm usually the one to be physically there and set up everything. But her dad is much involved in those too, but I usually say a little bit more than him.
It sounds like Addie has such a good balance between you 2. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's very cool to see, as from a teacher's perspective of a student with 2 households. It's very cool to see how you guys you can tell you guys are working together for the best of Addie, which is just very
yes. And it's one of those things. It's just communication, like anything, and it's at the end of the day, it's what matters for Adeline, and I think it's great that me and her dad are able to be on the same page and be able to communicate efficiently when it comes to what needs to be done for her, and just working as a team. The only difference is we're not together, and she knows that. So I think that's where me and her dad are I guess some sort of relief, where it's, hey, she knows we're not together and it works for her and she understands that part. So it doesn't really, I guess, affect her emotionally or in any way like that, because we always have made it a key point to always be positive in front of her.
I love that.
All the time. So regardless of what the situation may be, we've decided not to expose her to our stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, what language do you and in Addie's dad's household, what language do they speak primarily?
Well, we're bilingual, so it really, again, balance, we tend to do chopped language, where we're talking English and then Spanish within the same sentence. But I know it's more of the English because it's more of at school, that's the language she's speaking. And then while her aunts are working from virtually, they're doing their services in English too. So I think during the daytime, like the morning time, it's more of the English. And then once it's kind of like, oh, I'm off work, I'm done with school, then we start more of tapping into our Spanish and just being more free, I guess, in that sense. So English and Spanish, to be honest with you.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
When Adeline learned to talk, which knowing Adeline, I would imagine would be at an early age because she's a talker.
Yes.
What language did she learn first?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Spanish. I started off really strong with Spanish, and then maybe towards where she was going, like maybe 2 or 3, I kind of stopped doing it and went more into the English. But Spanish was like she had it down when she was what, like maybe like 1. It was more Spanish than anything.
Okay, that is so cool.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you I know you are bilingual, but is her dad bilingual as well?
Yes. So
Okay.
on her dad's side, everybody's bilingual,
Okay.
except her grandparents. But yes, Spanish speaking, English, and then same thing on my end too. So she gets the Spanish. So I think it's more of like a flow when we're all together, where she's in her home environment, or even when she's around children that do speak Spanish, like her cousins and stuff like that. She'll speak that Spanish, or her grandparents, like she knows, hey, I need to speak Spanish to my grandparents because that's the way I could communicate with them. So she knows how to adjust, like depending where she's at. And I think it's because we're just like that in our household. Okay, we're around individuals that don't know Spanish, and we're not gonna talk in Spanish or anything like that. So she knows how to, I guess,
Go back and forth.
Go back and forth depending who she's around.
That is so cool. Okay, so I think I know the answer to this, but on the questionnaire, there is, it breaks down who is with Adeline the most. So mom, dad, aunts, and cousins. Would you say that you speak mostly English and some Spanish, mostly Spanish and some English, or would you say it's pretty like down the middle, 50-50?
Down the middle. It's
so
hard
cool.
to say because it's just it's one of those things, like if she's with me, then she's gonna be talking English and Spanish just naturally. So, and I'm like that too at home, and I know her dad is too, and I know it's something that me and him have talked about and agreed that we really want to just focus on more of the Spanish and our culture roots and stuff with her. So I know I always tell her, like, what are you? And she knows now to say, I'm a strong Mexican woman. So
I
being able to
love
say that.
it.
Yes.
Oh, that is so cool. Okay, that is the perfect segue into my next question. How important is it to you that Adeline continues to speak and learn Spanish and kind of keep her roots with her as she gets older?
I think it's very important for her to be exposed to, her home language, which is, Spanish with us, because I'm second generation. So it's one of those things that me and her dad share, of our parents, migrating and coming to, the United States to give us a better life. And I always want her to remember, like, it wasn't easy for me to be here. So then that means you're here. So it is Spanish. And I think even for her to embrace other cultures too. So for her to be like in a diverse classroom as she gets older, so that she understands that everybody's different, but we're also very alike. So I think it's very important for her to understand that Spanish is very valuable to us.
I love it.
And it's a big thing in the future for career-wise and school-wise.
I mean, besides the fact that I think it is so important, and I think it's so cool and valuable that Adeline has these roots that can carry with her. And so it's very, it's very special because that's a part of who she is. But career-wise, and where we live, I mean, where you live anywhere, but especially where we live, being bilingual and having Spanish and English be your 2 languages is
it's like a
I mean, it's a
plus.
gift you
Yes.
are giving Adeline, because
No,
it's
honestly, it is though, because then I even think of it like school wise. I'm like, if I get her to speak confidently in Spanish, she could do her AP Spanish test and she doesn't have to even worry about that in college, because that's what I did. So I wasn't strong in like math or history, but I was confident in my Spanish to do a Spanish AP test and pass. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, like there's advantages to it, not just your culture wise, but like for you to be able to give back and communicate with the ones that are not able to communicate, and you're able to help then your elderlies when you're out in public. And I think it's more of like being able to carry on, like, hey, you know, I could translate for you, because I know it was something I did growing up for my mom at parent conferences, was translating my own parent conference to my mom. So for her to understand that, hey, you know, yes, you know the language and it's important, but also it's important to give it back and help the ones that have a language barrier because you don't. So
I love that.